want the Yolanda survivor to get back on their feet.
We all have a struggle, but really careful.
We wanted to write the biggest experience of
My biggest enemy is apathy.
My country to be an example.
I think I've always been deeply interested in people's stories.
Good.
She made her professional debut at 7 years old in the repertory Philippine musical The King and I, the start of many more musicals to come. 3 years later, she launched a recording career with her first album, Small Voice, which received a gold certification. Lea Salonga, the child star, blossomed in the limelight, eventually gracing the small and big screen. She made her international breakthrough at 17 years old, coveting the role of Kim in Miss Saigon.
And the Tony Award goes to Lea Salonga.
For this, she became the first Filipina to have won practically every theater accolade, including the Laurence Olivier and the Tony Award.
The entire cast, you guys are the greatest people anybody could ever work with, and this also goes to everybody back home who dreams of winning a Tony. Well, I got one, and the dream can come true for someone else too. Thanks a lot. God bless.
In 1991, People magazine named her among the 50 most beautiful people in the world. Lea was also the first Filipino artist to sign with an international record label. In 1993, she released her self-titled international debut album with Atlantic Records, which went platinum in the Philippines and sold 3 million copies worldwide. Lea was named a Disney legend in 2011 for her roles in Aladdin, Mulan, and My Neighbor Totoro. This week on Profiles, we get into the mind of Lea Salonga as she talks about the highlights of her remarkable career, her passion, and how she juggles a hectic schedule and private life.
Lea, welcome to the show. Great to have you in Profile.
Thank you.
So you have been very busy. You had a little bit of hiatus after finishing your show where you were a vocal coach. You just came from Singapore. Tell me about what's really keeping you busy these days.
A lot. We've just begun filming blind auditions for The Voice Kids, and we will be starting filming again for the next rounds.
It's tough to be a coach, and you are tough. You're known for your precision.
I'm known for being tough, and I'm known for being very demanding.
Yes.
And I usually say, I'm only asking for excellence. That's really not a lot to ask for.
Exactly.
and then they look at me like I'm crazy. It's like, why? That is something that every artist should demand of themselves. Yes. Without having somebody else tell them, nobody ever demands mediocrity of themselves. Mm-hmm. What kind of an artist are you? What kind of an anything are you when the highest level you aim for is mediocre, when it's pwede na?
Well, this is what got you that role in 1989, Kim, of course. You're well known for Kim in Miss Saigon. Now, you just celebrated 25 years of Miss Saigon Matthew. Wonderful gala performance. I cried over and over when I watched that. I still do. And what was it like performing with them, the cast now, and then compare it to then? Let's talk about 25 years.
Oh my goodness. I think there are very different journeys that each cast went through. I mean, when we did the show in 1989, there was so much uncertainty.
Yeah.
We were going into uncharted territory, and now we're going to be doing a new show. And when you go into a new show, you never know. You never really know if it's going to be a success or if it's going to be a flop. And all of us going in had this air of, okay, what is this going to be like? And we all put our hearts and souls into the creation of the show and putting the show on its feet and trying to bring all of these characters to life. But then until you're in front of an audience and until you see and even the reviews we got were so mixed that the show ran for 10 years. I think once the show became a hit, that's when we felt, oh, okay, we're okay. We could rest a little bit and we could just revel in the glory that is the show. And same thing when we went to Broadway, and I mean it was a huge success there, running for almost 10 years.
You've had many Chris's in your life, but you never forget the first.
Of course.
So you had
the first one is the first. The first one. That's the one you have the first stage kiss with. It was him. And so I learned a lot about being a romantic leading lady from this man.
The one said, a talent of shattering emotional depths. I mean, that was you, really. And you won an award for it. You know, yes. And from then, of course, Les Mis. How can you say Les Miserables? I mean, you also, the 25th anniversary is also a few years ago.
Yeah.
Talk about your experience with Les Miserables. I mean, that was your audition song, wasn't it?
Yeah, on my own, Eponine song was my audition piece for Miss Saigon. So I guess literally it was that song that just changed my entire life and just changed everything. Because I mean, I was in the Philippines, I was a pre-med student, I was at the Ateneo de Manila, and never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that an opportunity like this would come my way. When I got cast to play Eponine, of course the first reaction is, oh my God, I'm so thrilled. And then the second reaction is, I can't screw up. I cannot screw up. There's a lot of baggage riding on this. There's a lot. Because it isn't just, okay, I'm a performer and I have the right voice for Eponine. I'm a performer of Asian descent being cast in this role. And this is kind of a big deal because it's a non-traditional casting. I wanted the casting to be, she was the right type, she had the right voice, she was right for the part, and ultimately that's all that should matter in casting a show. So I really I felt like I had something to prove.
Yes. Well, you did a good job. After that, you were called back, and then you even played.
And I played Fantine.
Yeah.
Many years later, and that the experience of that was different because the first time I did Les Mis, it was a predominantly Caucasian company, and I was like probably the darkest person on stage. And I mean, I'm not dark I'm not dark at all, but I'm like the darkest person on that stage. And then when I got to play Fantine, it was a really multi-racial, multi-ethnic, all kinds. It was like the United Colors of Les Mis. That's what it looked like.
And you went back into another Asian role, being in the Flower Drum song.
Yeah,
that was another good experience. How was it preparing for that role?
Well, that one was a little different. I mean, I would be playing a Chinese immigrant, so I'm coming from an immigrant perspective, which is really not that far off because, well, that's kind of what I am. But then you're also coming from the perspectives of Asian Americans, and everybody on that stage, I think, had something in common with the characters that they got to play. When we got to do it in Los Angeles, it was a great experience. I met my husband doing the show.
Yes.
His cousin was one of the dancers in the production, and she introduced us. So that was probably the biggest and most incredibly wonderful takeaway from having done the show.
You are a Disney princess. Of course, Disney legend. You were named one in 2011.
Well, the experience of doing Disney, I mean, the nice thing about having done the Disney films, auditioning for it is really fun. Because the first time when I auditioned for Aladdin, you have all of these people coming into the room. And then when I finally walked in, and I was just in a woolen sweater, and my hair was just up in a bun, I wore no makeup. And I got to meet everybody at the I got to meet Alan Menken and Tim Rice, who wrote the song, who wrote A Whole New World. And they said, oh, we're going to put our heads down because we don't really need to look at you. Okay. We just need to hear your voice. Yeah, score! I mean, this is like the one time how you look didn't matter.
Yeah.
It was really what you brought. And I chose Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid. That was my audition piece. So I sang it. I guess I gave the best Ariel that I could. Well, from my dad, he would say things like, success is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. For her, motherhood is a 24/7 job. If you want your child to be successful, you have to be there for them 24/7.